you all know. Um, if it doesn't go well, just pretend it's awesome, okay? I need y'all to hype me up in chat, okay? I need you to know that. So even if it sounds like ass, just pretend it sounds great, okay? Versus, yeah! Okay, cool. Alright. I can't believe we're about to do this, but screw it. Let's do this. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous. It's just not. No. OMG, Shoji, you're playing Helldivers 2 on stream live right now? I can't believe it. Everyone needs to hear about this. I'm going on national TV to announce Shoji Tenken. No, to announce Shoji Tenken is playing Helldivers 2 on Twitch right this moment. Crazy. Real. Crazy. Honestly, something I would do. I would do that right now. I would. That's a spoiler. You can. I'm playing Helldivers right now. I'm about to play Helldivers on stream right now. Yep. That's what it is. Okay. Can't believe this guy had a Max Wolfram account the entire time trolled me. Real. Yep, that's what happened. The surprise for you that everyone except, well, the only Yukino was supposed to hear is that I secretly have a maxed out Wolfram account. Yep. Alright, let's stop trolling? I'm not trolling. Let's stop procrastinating. Yeah, and let's start rolling. I don't think that's what I was supposed to say, but whatever. Stalling! There we go. Let's stop stalling. Alright guys, I hope you're ready, because I'm not. I'm scared, guys. I'm scared. I'm fear. I feel nothing but fear. I just want y'all to know that. Okay? Be the Shoji, we know. Be the Shoji. Don't worry, you're gonna do good. No, it's gonna... No, I'm gonna do bad now. Purely because you said that. I'm gonna go out of my way to be as bad as possible. I'm obviously not gonna do that. What do you mean, no? Nope, I'm not doing anymore. Guys, it's cancelled. I changed my mind. Don't worry about it, guys. Guys, yep. Yep, guys, it's official. Debut cancelled. Debut cancelled. Show's over. Stream's over. Everyone went home. Yeah, exactly. Everyone has gone home. Oh well. What are we gonna do now? Who knows? Who knows? Nobody knows. Not a debut, but a graduate. Real guys. I'm graduating right now. The thing is not working the way it was supposed to work, and it is bugging me actually a little bit. Like it's not like life-ending levels of bugging me, but it is mildly upsetting. But it's fine. We'll make it work. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide you guys, okay? I'm gonna hide you guys. Well, it looks like you have to show everyone now because you're all dead. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, God. Okay. You know what? Let's actually do this. Let's actually do this for real. Okay. Hope you're ready, because I'm not. Let's take it from the top, guys. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. JK, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. We're not doing anything anymore. Bye, guys. I'm going home. Walking noises. Walking noises begin now. Okay. Wow. Okay, I don't know if that played for you guys, but whatever. I'll make it work sometime. Before long. It'll happen. It'll happen. Don't worry, trust me. April Fools, but it's not April Fools. Yeah, exactly, guys. Exactly. Okay, you know what? There's no more stalling. Let's just get this over with. Gonna put this on. Gonna put this on so I can hear it too. Okay. Yes, okay, cool. I can hear it. You can hear it. We can all hear it. We're gonna pretend that this is like the first time you've ever heard this, okay? Just pretend. Just pretend. For my sake, okay? For my sake. Blink and you'll miss it. For real. Yeah. Okay, let me know. By the way, is the volume okay? Just before I start singing. Was that fine? I'm guessing it was fine, right? Like if it was too, if you need me to turn up the audio or turn down the audio, let me know, okay? Please, like actually, if you guys want the VOD to actually go up. Speaking of which, I still need to get the VOD of my actual debut VOD up. It will happen. It will happen. Don't worry. Ruptured my eardrums. I'm like, really? Oh, joke. Okay, I was gonna say like, oh no. No, that's fine. Okay. The problem with this song is it just kind of goes straight into it. So once I'm on, it's like, okay, you sing and you don't stop. Right. Let's actually do this. Okay. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Sound out the song of splendor for all this world to hear. The flag flies high because our renaissance begins right here. Don't worry about the thing on the right side. I tried to find a way to hide it, but couldn't make it work, Loki. So just, it didn't happen, okay? Stepping forward into this endeavor, if you have intention, see it through. It may feel beyond you, but remember, no one can write this chronicle but you. Though you know the journey's growing harsher, there's no kingdom built within a day. Till we see the end of this encounter, go on, come on, march on with all your strength. Even as the shards of hope held between my fingers broke away, I'll still reach out again unto this wish. Till the day I am the sovereign of my own fate. Sound out the song of splendor for all this world to hear. Our flag flies high upon the eminence of 1,000 years. Chance lies on the precipice of hope and time. Catch it, and the world wouldn't fall for you. Just give it a try. Set free those aspirations as birds upon the wind, and watch as they return with majesty atop their wings. Because our renaissance begins right here. Let's be glorious, victorious. Join with us as we build up a brand new golden age. I've got no idea how this sounds and how this is going, but I'm just gonna assume everything's going just fine. And if it sucks, then too bad. While we forge ahead, keeping your mind here, there's no use being wearied on the throne. So betwixt your struggles, just recall there's always a time for resting and repose. For the next day on with our renewal, that will have no right to crush your mind. In this kingdom's crown, you are the jewel. Now stand up, stand out, stand strong, and show your pride. Even if inside you believe there is no marvel there, then do it for the fire that sparked your quest to engage. We are the kings of this world's next new stage. Sound out our fighters' fanfare with every war we face. It echoes out, and with our shout we let it resonate. With each battle that we meet, this world still spins. Take charge, never feel afraid to show it just how you feel. Let ring the bells of conquest, oh each trial in our way. Gather our victories till everyone has heard our names. And do not stop until we've seized this day, as we start to climb the best of times. Tried and true, now you can choose your brand new chance to shine. Oh, let's go guys. I'm actually having a lot of fun. More than I expected. Don't mind my eyes glitching out. Audentes Fortuna, you but if you have a will, it's up to you to make your way. Just one step and you've made your start. Keep on charging forth, now heed the call. Choose the route and make it yours. Sekai o tsukamu no himade. Keep up the fight, akiramenai de. Sound out the song of splendor for all this world to hear. Our flag flies high upon the story that we're starting here. Chance lies on the precipice of hope and time. Catch it and the world will envelop you in all of its light. Set free those aspirations as birds upon the wind. Open your heart unto the melodies of joy they sing. Because our renaissance begins right here. Let's be glorious, victorious. Join with us as we build up a brand new golden age. Yay! I'm still getting the calibration done on this thing, but I'm making it work. We're making it work as much as we can. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you like the new look? Or do you prefer the old look? I like aspects of both. I mean, I'm starting to get, like, as I sing, staring at my own model in the face, I'm like, you know what? This could be me. This could be me. This could work. We could make this work. Obviously, there are some things that I wasn't able to, like, carry over to this model purely because this is a customizable one. Where the kitty is exactly. There's the it's the cat ears. Guys, I'm becoming more human. That's what it is, guys. I've gone from I'm becoming more human. I'm hiding them. I'm hiding him. I'm hiding them right now. Stick a PNG on it. honestly, I could. I actually think I might at some point. The thing is, glasses is, oh my god, yeah. I want to try adding the glasses back on too. I miss having glasses. I mean, this is more like me in real life anyway, in the sense that I actually don't wear glasses most of the time. I have glasses nowadays, but I don't need them most of the time. I only use them when I'm reading, so I basically just wear them at work. Or as a fashion accessory, no joke. Which is already how I was wearing glasses in real life anyway, before I needed a prescription. So not much has changed, honestly. My coworker today, I actually lost one of my glasses, like the little, you know, like the plastic nose bit that goes on the nose piece. I lost one of those, and my coworkers were like, "No, are you gonna be able to see?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, I'll be perfectly fine. My glasses are just for reading. I only wear them so my eyes don't get tired." So yeah. Wait, what do you mean I can't bite in real life? No way, immersion broken, says Archer. SMH my head. Yeah, but hi, this is me. I have more songs, but do we want to talk a bit more, or do we want to go into another song? Because I'm okay to do either. What are we feeling like, chat? Obviously, YouTube, as you watch this, unfortunately for you, you're not gonna be able to decide. You still can't see chat, which I apologize for. I can put chat back on the screen now, actually, now that I'm done singing for now. But yeah, so this is me. As you can see, I want to go through the different toggles I've got before I start singing another song, I think, because I think like a mini concert is nice. But let's go through to just chatting, and I should be able to show you. So we got the chill music again. I'm really hoping this doesn't get like copyright claimed. YouTube, if this is copyright claimed, no, it's not. Okay, this is not copyrighted music, probably. I swear. I did specifically look up like non-copyright music, so I've been lied to if this gets taken down. But I think this new model, I think it does suit my aesthetic still. It does still suit my aesthetic. I do miss the old one a lot. If I can get the old one to move, honestly, that'd be it. Like if I could commission the two people to work hand in hand. So if I could get Alpaca and a rigger to work together to rig me that model, or like make me a new model that's even more better than both, that would be amazing. But this is what I'm going to look like for a little while. Obviously, if you guys ever want it, I will move back to the PNG tuber. Honestly, I'm already thinking about using the PNG tuber a little bit for some of my future streams going forth. I don't want to be limited to this model, but I am very happy this model exists because it's so much nicer now that I can move. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more things I can do. As you guys noticed, like when I was singing, right? Like there was more going on. There was more I could do. So I'm quite happy about that. And honestly, I don't know if you guys... So this is because this is a customizable model, I actually tweaked the skin color and the hair color to suit me a bit more. Low key, it makes me look a little bit like Gaming. I look a bit like Gaming from Genshin Impact. And I like that. I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of that. As you can see, this is just me when I'm not at the academy, guys. I'm no longer a student at the Big Brain Academy. I'm no longer a student at the Big Brain Academy, but I work at the Big Brain Academy now. So this is what I wear when I'm not at work. Yep. The model blinks with you as well. Yes, exactly. So when I'm blinking, me blinking, yeah. The reason why it kind of thinks I'm winking half the time is because like when I'm like ee and I'm smiling and moving my face to the right or left, it thinks that I'm blinking when I'm not. So there is that. But you know, it's fine. I'm gonna turn off the reverb for a bit because we're not singing yet for a while anyway. Frog blinking, yeah, exactly. I'm going out of my way to like slowly frog blink. Yeah, it's kind of goofy. Barry said, officially been here for 3 models now. Yes, thank you, Barry. Honestly, when I saw that I was your #1 watch streamer, I was really happy. I was like, no way, I'm someone's favorite. I'm someone's favorite. That's crazy. I cannot believe that. I was like, no way, guys. I was really happy about it. But yeah. Looks like Gaming. Yeah, for real. What do you mean not a Catboy IRL? No way, immersion broken. SMH my head. Never meet your idol, says Fluffy. True. What I thought too, what about the Gaming thing? Gaming if he was real. True. I feel like I do look like a lot like Gaming with this model. Arch says, you do, right? The model, yes. Frog, you most likely are my favorite as well. Nui! Am I your favorite fire? That makes me really happy. Thank you. That makes me really happy. I can't believe Shaw isn't a boy. Good for her / them. Yeah. Real, guys. I'm not a boy. Okay, guys. You know what? No, so true. You know what? I'm not a cat, so therefore I'm also not a boy. I'm not a cat and I'm not a boy. I'm a... in the daytime, my name's Marinette. In the daytime, I'm Marinette. Just a normal girl with a normal life. But there's something about me that no one knows yet. Miraculous, simply the best. Put to the test when things go wrong. Trans shorty. That's crazy. Killing with bricks. No, guys, this is hate crime. I'm being hate crime right now. Under the Equality and Diversity Act 2010. I'm gonna say 2010. According to the Equality and Diversity Act 2010, you guys are hate criming me, and I think that's bad. I don't think you should hate crime me. I think hate criming people is bad. Me, when I have a hot take that's actually ice cold, hate crime is bad, guys. Don't do it. I hate you because of Ladybug. Your gender is irrelevant. You know what? Fair enough. Okay, you know what? You get a pass. That's not hate crime. Fair enough. Okay. But as you can see, I've got some expressions now. This is a pre-made model made by... Let me look up the people that made it, because... Oh, gosh. I want to give credit. So... I'm giving credit to... a lovely place called Mount Infinity Inc. There you go. Mount Infinity Ink. And I'm gonna give 2 cat noises because Aura redeemed one. Hi Aura, thank you for coming to my mini debut. And also, for the one that Barry redeemed. So, just for you guys, we can pretend I'm a cat still. Yeah. That was very good. Let's try it. Wait. Wait, is it this? Is this? No, that wasn't. That wasn't very good. Let's try that again. Meow. Meow. There you go. There's one. That was decent. That was decent. And then another one. Another one. Yeah. There you go. Hope that was good for you. Good for you. You look happy and healthy. Okay. I need to stop. Okay, but let's have a look at my expressions too. Did it come with the rig too? It did come with the rig. This is a pre-made model, so I just customized it a little bit. There's different things I can change, which is pretty cool. So first of all, there's this. I can be angry and mad. Rah. I can have bean eyes when I'm like, guys, what's going on? But this is a toggle, so I can toggle it on and off. I have this blush toggle. See? I can be really like... Wait, can I combine it with the... Oh, I can't combine the blush and the angry. Oh, I can do this though. It's not like I like you or anything. Jeez. That felt a bit cringe, but okay. Whatever. I'm a VTuber. Being cringe, I'm inherently cringe by existing, right? I've also got the scared one. As you can see, I can mix and match it looks like. So I can like, if I do this, I can like look like, what? What did you say? Huh? You like me? Fuck up. I can be as cringe as I like. Obviously, I can also be like scared like that. I've got love heart eyes. Can I combine that with the blush? I can. So I can be like, wait, there's a song. You look so pretty when you're standing there, my American Apparel underwear. I don't know how the rest of that song goes. The only reason I know it is because it was at the concert I was at yesterday, which I will talk about, but probably not in the part of the stream that's going to get uploaded. I don't want to just casually like blurt out 50 million concert details in my debut stream. But yeah, I don't have slides, just so you know. I don't have any slides prepared, so this is not going to be anything crazy. What was this? Oh, we have this too. Like, guys, we gotta chill. We gotta take a moment to chill, take a deep breath, and stop complimenting me. You gotta stop with the compliments, guys. It's making me embarrassed. I wonder if I can be... Oh, I can be angry. I can be like, guys, you guys are acting up way too much. See, this is the thing. This is the reason why I want to use this model a lot, because there's so much expressivity. Like, I have so much freedom to express myself a lot more than I can with the other models, which is not a bad thing. It's not inherently wrong. It's just that, like, because obviously it's rigged and there's different expressions I can rig into it, there's just so much more freedom to do a lot of stuff, really. The art style is nice, but I still really like Alpaca's art style. We've got, like, the dizzy eyes, so I can be like, wait, can I combine? Oh, I look hypnotized now. It's like, you're right. I totally should buy 50 million copies of Helldivers 2. You're right. Wow. So yeah, then mine is just the earrings toggle, I think. I have a toggle for my other earring. So I've got one ear pierced, right? On my left side, I don't know if you can see it, but with like this, my other ear is not pierced, but then I can turn the piercing on and have it on. I can also turn the choker on and off, so now it's off, now it's on. I don't know if I can toggle the hoodie, but if I could, that's awesome. Hi Aura, what's up? Also, I wanted to greet you properly. Did it come with doing okay? Oh, I'm glad you're doing okay. Just recovering from surgery. Oh, congrats on surviving the surgery. I hope it went smoothly. I hope there were no complications. And fighting with a temp disability company. That's fair. Yeah, I hope that goes well, Aura. I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're recovering well from the surgery. Take it easy if you can afford to. Do whatever you have to do, but also like take time. Take time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you're well aware of this because you're the one recovering. But like, obviously, like even something as simple as getting a glass of water is not so simple when you're recovering from surgery. So, I hope you feel better soon. I hope you recover quickly and happily and healthily. So yes. Hi Dev! Oh my gosh, hi, it's so good to see you. We're doing stretch posture check. Ah, good choice. I'm gonna straighten my back now. I'm straightening my back. Yippee! You can see because of the way my model's moving. I'm straightening my back. And I'm gonna drink water. True. I could drink Lucozade, but I'll be good and I'll drink water. Oh right, when I do that, you guys can actually see me move over. Why do I look concerned when I drink water? When I drink water, it's like... Alright. Are you ready for another song, do we think? Are you ready for another song? Okay, we've got 3 choices. I could sing all 4 songs, but you guys get to help me decide the order, okay? I want this to be a little bit more interactive. So I'm thinking something upbeat still, but if you want, we can completely change the vibe. I'll be real with you, there is a song I want to sing more than the other ones, but these are the 3 songs left prepared. So we have this, we have this, and we have this, which I think would be a good finale, but I'll leave it up to you guys. Just gonna give it a second to do the thing. Okay, you know what, it's fine. You guys will get the vibe. You guys will get what I'm going for. I'm gonna give you guys 2 minutes to decide. There you go. Go. I finally managed to catch one of your streams and say, hey, this is Dev. And you know what? You came at the perfect time. Because you came during my debut. There you go, guys. You guys got 3 options. They're on the poll now, so please do check it out. Please do vote, so that I can you can help me decide which song to sing next. Because I'm fairly, you know, like I don't mind. I want you guys to. You guys are the reason I'm still here. 3 years on. That's crazy, by the way. 3 years on and I'm still around. And it is literally thanks to you guys. Because if I didn't have you guys as my community, I would be gone. I would have stopped streaming by now. I would have just given up. I would just be like, okay, well, I had my fun. Bye. But nope, thanks to you guys, I have been streaming still because I got people to chill with. What song? Silk Song. You can no. No, not Silk Song. Although Silk Song is a good song. Shaw? Shaw? Shawshank Redemption? Or Shoddy like a melody in my head? Taps. Okay. Oh, is YouTube not gonna like that? I'm gonna hide that. I'm gonna... Okay, I'm gonna delete your comment, but I'm gonna delete your comment. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but purely because I don't know what YouTube's gonna think of it, okay? Because this is... If there's any stream that I actually, for certain, want to upload as a VOD, it's this one. Because this is so new and exciting for me. It's like, wow, new thing happening right now. Crazy. Fair? Yeah, it's not your fault. Like, it's genuinely not your fault. Don't worry about it. Okay. But yeah. Okay, guys. We only have 1 vote. So whoever decided to vote for that one, you're winning. Congratulations. Alright. This better? Yeah, it's better. Thank you. Thank you, Yukina. Right. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, let's do this. Right, we don't want that song again. We're not looking for that song a second time. Okay. This is a different version to... Just want you to know, this is a specific version. I want to give credit. I'm going to give credit. So this particular arrangement is done by a very specific person, and that person is... I think it's Insane Bacteria. Let me have a look. It's my favorite... Like, I've been listening to it on repeat. It's so good. It's legit so good. Oh, it's Justice Bacteria. Justice Bacteria. Say when the song's over, I'll just imagine some crazy good singing. Okay. Sounds good. No, that's fair. Right. My singing probably isn't gonna be crazy, but you know, I appreciate you imagining that it's gonna be crazy good. Thank you, Fa. Right. I'll type in. Can someone type in chat when the song finishes? Because I don't know if I can manage my attention that much right now. Okay, I'm gonna put it on. Boom. Right. Echo, echo, echo. All right. Let's go. Wait, I should probably get the lyrics up first, huh? As you can see, a lot of planning clearly went into this. I definitely did not, um, do this last minute. Yep, this was a well planned out stream that's been in the works for a while. Okay. All right, let's stop procrastinating. Let's do this. Don't want you, need you, yeah, I need you to fill me up. 마시고 마셔봐도 손게 차지 않아. I got a feeling, oh yeah, you could be everything that I need. Tastes so sweet, every sip makes me want more, yeah. Take a like snacks, cause you got it like that. Take a big bite, want another bite, yeah. 너의 모든 걸 난 원해. 너무하고 모두 뻔해. When you're in my arms, I hold you so tight. Can't let go, no, not tonight. 지금 당장 날 봐 시간 없잖아. 넌 내 거야 이미 알고 있잖아. Cause I need you to need me. I'm empty, you feed me so refreshing. My little soda pop, you're all I can think of. Every drop I drink up. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. Cool me down, you're so hot. Pour me up, I won't stop. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. Make me wanna flip the top. I'ma go make you hit the spot. Every little drip and drop, fizz and pop. Some gold died getting hot. Yes, I'm sipping when it's dripping. Now it's done. I need a second round and pour a lot. And don't you stop, a soda pop fizzles out. Come, 속에 그려왔던 너. 난 절대 놓칠 수 없어. No 원에 가까워. It's so long for a taste of soda. So the wait is over, baby. Come and fill me up, just can't get enough. You're all I can think of. Every drop I drink up. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. Cool me down, you're so hot. Pour me up, I won't stop. You're my soda pop, my little soda pop. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're my soda pop, gotta drink every drop. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're my soda pop, gotta drink every drop. Okay. How was that? I had fun. That was actually really fun. I really like that arrangement. I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if you guys know, but that's amazing. It's so good. It's my favorite. It's so nice. It's just yeah. The vibe is different, right? The vibe is so different. The original song is great too. Obviously, the original song is amazing. I love it. But this particular arrangement is just like wow. You know, it's like a next level. Like whoa. But yeah. So I'm really enjoying tonight so far. This is I'm having a lot of fun. This is going great. This is going amazing. We will just kind of see how everything's going. But yeah, I'm getting it cool. I feel like that song It Girl. Ugh, don't call, just text me. Wait. Okay, sending that message. And boom. Cool. Okay guys. So, how are we doing tonight? We doing well? We doing not so well? I hope we're doing well. because I'm doing great. I'm having a great time. And it's thanks to you all. So thank you so much. Um, I'm gonna see if we feel like another song. I'm not. The chat's kind of chilling out right now. So I think, are we okay with me singing one more? Are we okay with me singing one more? I'm not seeing any objections. Do-do-do-do. So okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Okay. I'm gonna sing. You know what? I might just go through the rest of the set list, and then we'll go back to. Actually, then I'll probably end the VOD. Yes, I will end the VOD there, and then we'll see what we feel like doing for a regular stream afterwards. Sounds good? Sounds good? Okay. Well, I'm not hearing any objections. So let's do that. Okay. So I'm gonna switch back to my Shoost, and then I'm gonna sing 2 more songs, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna quote unquote end the stream, and then we're gonna chat with just us guys. YouTube doesn't get to hear what we talk about after this, okay? So let me just go to. Bro's got a set list in the PowerPoint. Yeah. Listen, I might be influenced by the concert I went to the other day. I'm gonna tell you. Actually, we'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about that as well. It's only 2 songs, guys. It's only 2 more songs. Okay, okay. That's all we gotta deal with. 2 more songs. Okay. So, gonna change the song. We're gonna change to Yampy. We're changing to Yampy. No, a hamster bought my way in here. Now please let me out. Ah! Hi, hi, hi. How are you guys doing? Ah! Hello, hello, hello. You guys are joining me for my debut. It's my mini debut, guys. This is my first time being live 2D. I have a model for the first time ever. I would make this a full debut, but I didn't have time to plan a whole debut because I got this model. We're not going to talk about how recently I got this model, okay? But I've been meaning to buy like a pre-made custom model for a while. I did so much research into it. I was like, I needed specifically one that I could change the skin tone so that I could be my melanated self. I can go darker than this. I could even change my skin to be red if I wanted to, but I wanted a skin color that reflects my skin color IRL. So it's really nice to be able to have this. Thank you for shouting out Riampi, guys. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate you, mods. And welcome to my stream. My name is Shoji. We love being tan, says Yampi. Yes, we do. Yeah, so welcome to my stream. First of all, thanks for joining the raid. If you need to go, if you need to dip, if you need to rest, eat, sleep, repeat, whatever, go do that. But if you want to stay and find out who I am, then please, by all means. We're gonna sing 2 songs, then I'm gonna quote unquote pretend to end the stream. And then we're gonna talk with just us, because YouTube doesn't get to see what we talk about behind closed doors, guys. I'm winking right now. But yeah. I say behind closed doors, it's not gonna be anything crazy. It's just we're just gonna chill. I'm trying to like stream in a way that I could upload this to YouTube afterwards, because I want to be able to share this joy with everyone for a while. So plus my YouTube channel's looking it's kind of empty, guys. Not gonna lie, it's kind of empty. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that. And what better to fix it with than this? But guys, if you don't know Yampi, for those of us who are already here who don't know Yampi, Yampi is really amazing. She's so sweet. She's so kind. She's a great streamer. She does everything cozy. Everything cozy. Everything cozy you can think about. One of my favorite streams that Yampi does is Animal Crossing. And I've always wanted to do Animal Crossing streams, but the problem is, guys, my Animal Crossing has my real name. I know. I know. What can you do? What can you do? So I can't stream Animal Crossing. But I recently got my hands on a Nintendo Wii. So what we could do is we could stream Animal Crossing for the Wii. Just saying. Just saying. We could do it. We could do it. We could make it work. We'll see. Oh, thank you, Shaw, says Yamfi. No, no worries. I'm so happy to have you here, Yamfi. Thank you again for the raid. Same thing for you. If you need to dip, if you need to do anything, feel free to. But if you want to stay and celebrate with me, then you're more than welcome to. I'm going to sing 2 songs. You guys should probably know them. They're both in English. Feel free to listen along. But if singing is not your thing, that's okay. It's only 2 songs, and then we can move on to chatting. I'm going to start the song up soon. I'll be doing some looky look. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the look. Have a great debut. Thank you. I'm having a great time already. So honestly, I'm really optimistic. I'm really optimistic. And I think it's going to be awesome. Okay, guys, I'm gonna turn the reverb back on and let's go into this song, shall we? Wait a sec. I forgot to get the lyrics up again. Guys, is my ADHD showing? I feel like it's showing. I feel like it's showing. Okay. Right, leave it all to me. By the way, I am British. I feel like it's not coming across fully. There's just a strange lilt to my accent. But for those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Shoji. I'm British. I'm also vaguely cozy. I think of myself as a cheerful second monitor streamer. So you can put me on in the background and I'll yap your ear off, because yapping is what I'm good at. Right. Without any further ado, though, let's sing before I forget. If it does the thing. Here we go. I know, you see, somehow the world will change for me and be so wonderful. Live life, breathe air. I know somehow we're gonna get there and feel so wonderful. I will make you change your mind. These things happen all the time and it's all real. I'm telling you just how I feel, so wake up the members of my nation. It's your time to be. There's no chance unless you take one, and the time to see the brighter side of every situation. Some things are meant to be, so give it your best and leave the rest to me. I know it's time to raise the hand that draws the line and be so wonderful. Golden sunshine, I know somehow it's gonna be mine and feel so wonderful. Show me what you can become. There's a dream in everyone, and it's all real. I'm telling you just how I feel, so wake up the members of my nation. It's your time to be. There's no chance unless you take one, and the time to see the brighter side of every situation. Some things are meant to be, so give me your best and leave the rest to me. Leave it all to me. So make it right and see it through. You know you won't be free until you wake up the members of my nation. It's your time to be. There's no chance unless you take one, and the time to see the brighter side of every situation. Some things are meant to be, so give me your best and leave the rest to me. Leave it all to me. Leave it all to me. Just leave it all to me. That was from iCarly, for those of you who don't know. But I feel like it's pretty difficult for people to not know. I feel like it's fairly rare. It is fairly rare, I fear. But yes, that was from iCarly. I wanted something upbeat in there. I wanted something vaguely rock vibes, because not gonna lie, this outfit I'm giving, it feels like it could kind of do everything. It can kind of do whatever it wants to do, and I kind of like that. It's definitely less formal, which means that I can definitely get away with singing a lot more like I guess like maybe rock slash pop rock. Like I can get away with that now, which I kind of like, because my previous outfit was amazing and I loved it so much. The school uniform is amazing. I still love it to this day. Of course I do. But if I ever manage to get that model rigged, I would love to be able to have a bunch of different outfits so I could have different ones for every situation. But this one's more casual. I think it's going to be more difficult for me to get away with singing the like fancier sounding songs now, but we'll make it work. We'll make whatever we want to work. We'll get it. We'll get it doing. Would I die if I said that I haven't watched nor really know what iCarly is? Says Fire. Um, no, you wouldn't die. You would be fine. But iCarly is basically, it's a very popular sitcom from the, I think it's Nickelodeon. Um, but it's a really fun, it's really fun sitcom. It's basically about this girl that has her own like internet show, and that's like the whole premise. She's just a regular girl that has an internet show that's popular. That's literally it. That's the whole premise. And they do whatever they do in a bunch of episodes. It gets kind of crazy. A lot of the situations that happen in the show are very unrealistic, but that's kind of the era we were in. You know what I mean? Like everything, like kid shows were unrealistic, and it was like part of the fun. But yeah, I think watching iCarly, I didn't really get to watch much Nickelodeon growing up because my family didn't have the money to pay for that channel. We didn't really pay for like satellite TV, so we just had whatever was free. But we made it work. I was able to watch it occasionally because it would come on like one of the free channels every once in a while, but not very often. And I guess YouTube became a thing, and it became popular, and TV shows started uploading clips of their or like full episodes in some cases of their TV shows to YouTube. So there's that too. But honestly, I just kind of like the song. It's just a nice song. It's very uplifting. A lot of the Nickelodeon songs are, even like the one from Victorious, Make It Shine. It's just they're just uplifting, and it's really nice to listen to, and it's especially because it's the kind of like catchy pop rock vibe that I enjoy generally. Make It Shine is definitely not the same vibe, but it's still a good song and it's equally uplifting. So yeah, right. Before I yap too much and end up talking everyone's ear off, let me sing the final song. Then we'll quote unquote end the stream, and then we'll chat about we'll chat about whatever we want. Cool. This one is from Honkai Star Rail, and I don't know if you guys were here. So for those of you who were here for my last debut, in that debut I sang "Sway to My Beat" in Cosmos. So like the "Welcome to my world." And now to end this debut, I'm actually gonna sing the counterpart to that song, I suppose you could say. And it's definitely a slower vibe. It's more relaxing, regal, orchestral, and I hope you enjoy this one just as much. This is If I Can Stop One Heart From Breaking by Robin. Birds are born with no shackles. Then what fetters my fate? Flown away, the white petals leave me trapped in a cage. The endless isolation can wear down my illusion. Someday I'll make a dream unchained. Let my heart bravely spread the wings, soaring past the night to trace the bright moonlight. Let the clouds heal me of the stings, gently wipe the sorrow of my life I dream. What is meant by miracle? A word outside my days. Once again, repeat warbles, but how could I escape? No further hesitation on those unanswered questions. So now I'll make a dream unchained. Let my heart bravely spread the wings, soaring past the night to trace the bright moonlight. Let the clouds heal me of the stings, gently wipe the sorrow of my life I dream. Let my heart bravely spread the wings, soaring past the night to trace the bright moonlight. Let the clouds heal me of the stings, gently wipe the sorrow off my life. I dream, I dream. Thank you, everyone. I have had so much fun during this debut. This has been amazing. I'm just gonna turn off the reverb. I just want to say thank you. Also, hi. I don't know how to pronounce this, but Seth Theroni, maybe? Thank you so much for the follow, and thank you so much for the first time chat. I appreciate you so much. It's amazing to meet you. It's lovely to meet you. Don't worry, I'm not actually ending the stream. I am just doing this for the YouTube VOD. But yes, thank you so much to everyone who came today. Thank you, Seth Theroni. Thank you to Yampi. Thank you to Fire. Thank you to Archer. Thank you to Yukina. Thank you to Berry. Thank you to Way One Spectra, who joined during the raid. Thank you for the raid as well, Yampi. Thank you so much. Especially on my debut day. Thank you also to Aura. I thanked you, Fire. I thanked you, Yukina. Thank you to Dev also for stopping by. Thank you. Thank you to Archer. I thank you, Archer. Thank you, Barry. I think I thanked you as well. Let's see if anyone I missed. I think that's everyone that's chatted. I think. If I've missed you, now is the time for you to tell me so I can... Oh, thank you, Aikitama, as well. But yes, thank you. For anyone who has managed to... Anyone who has managed to come by and watch my mini debut, I appreciate you so much. To everyone in YouTube, I want to thank you so much as well. To everyone in my community generally, I want to give a big thank you. Again, it is thanks to all of you that I've come to this point, that I have a live TD model, that I've been streaming for 3 years. 3 years! And I finally got like a mini debut together. This has been such a blast. And I want to say, regardless of when you watch this, regardless of when you join my community, I want you to know that you were still part of my journey and you were an equally important part of my journey, okay? I don't want you to think that you're lesser just because you're newer. I don't want you to think that you're lesser just because you chat less. I don't want you to think that you're lesser because you're just watching clips and VODs or whatever it is you're watching. You are an important part of my journey and you are one of the reasons I am here. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And to those of you as well who've lurked, those of you who stopped by and not said anything, who've just poked your head in and said, you know, like, oh wow, this guy's interesting. Even if you end up not staying with me and we share that brief moment and that's all there has been, and perhaps all there will be, you're still important and you still contributed a very big part to me being the person I am today. So thank you so much. I'm going to end the VOD here. I hope that YouTube enjoys it. If the copyright strikes take down the singing, that's okay, because honestly, my singing tonight was just, it was okay. Like, I'm happy with it, but I know I can do crazy more stuff. But also, I didn't really have the time to prepare crazy stuff. But yeah, thank you all so much. I'm gonna cut the VOD here. Love you guys platonically in a non-parasocial way. See you next time. Bye.